The cabin was my sanctuary. Tucked away on the edge of Pine Ridge, it was where I went to escape the city's noise, a place of silent forests and clean air. The one downside was the Pine Ridge Homeowners Association, or more specifically, the HOA president, Karen. She was a woman who saw regulations not as guidelines, but as a personal crusade. My wife Sarah had finally gotten her transfer and was moving in permanently. She was a military woman, a tough, no-nonsense soldier who had been serving overseas for the better part of a decade. Her tour was over, and we were finally going to be together, starting our life in this little slice of heaven. The day she arrived, a massive U-Haul pulled up the gravel drive. I was outside directing the movers when I heard the familiar sharp clip-clop of Karen's sandals on the pavement. She was marching toward us, a clipboard clutched in her hand like a weapon. "New tenants, Mr. Harris?" she asked, her voice dripping with disapproval. "You know the bylaws are very clear about long-term rentals. All occupants must be vetted and approved by the board." I sighed, holding back a laugh. "Karen, this isn't a tenant. This is my wife, Sarah. She's moving in." Karen's eyes narrowed, her gaze sweeping over the truck and the boxes being carried inside. "Your wife?" I've never seen her before, and I certainly didn't see an application for a new occupant. I tried to explain. "She's been serving in the military. She just got back." "The military?" Karen scoffed. "And you expect me to just take your word for it? This looks a lot like a sublet to me. You're trying to sneak someone in, aren't you?" "Well, I won't have it. Not in my community." I felt my blood pressure rise. Sarah walked over, wiping sweat from her forehead. "Is there a problem, honey?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. Karen didn't even look at her. "The problem is a clear violation of HOA policy," she declared, pulling out her phone. "And I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm calling the police."
"Karen, don't be ridiculous," I pleaded. "She's my wife. Her name is on the deed."
She ignored me, pressing the phone to her ear. "Yes, hello. I'd like to report a code violation at 145 Pine Ridge. The owner is attempting to illegally rent his cabin to an unapproved resident. I've asked for identification, but they're refusing to provide it." I stood there in disbelief as she hung up, a smug look on her face. Sarah just shook her head and went back inside to help the movers, telling me not to worry. About 10 minutes later, a patrol car rolled up. 2 officers got out and Karen immediately went into full-on drama mode. "Officer, thank goodness you're here," she said, practically running to them. "He's trying to get away with this. He's letting some woman live here without any approval, and he won't even show me proof of who she is." The officers looked at me, then at the moving truck. "Sir, can you explain what's going on?" one of them asked. "This is my wife," I said, gesturing to Sarah, who was now standing on the porch. "She's been deployed for years. We're married. Her name is on the deed." The officer turned to Sarah. "Ma'am, for the record, could we just see some ID?" Sarah didn't say a word. She reached into her pocket, pulled out her wallet, and flipped it open. She handed him a card that was not a driver's license, but a small green and white card with her photo and a number. The officer's eyes widened. He immediately snapped to attention, his posture straightening. "Yes, ma'am," he said respectfully, handing it back. "Thank you for your service." Karen, who had been watching with a smirk, suddenly looked confused. She peered over the officer's shoulder to get a look at the card. It was a U.S. Army military identification. On it was a name, Sarah Jane Harris, and right beneath it was a rank that made her breath catch in her throat. Colonel. The smug look on Karen's face vanished, replaced by pure shock. Her mouth hung slightly open. The officer turned to her, his tone now cold. "Ma'am, this woman is not only an occupant but the co-owner of this property and a decorated officer in the United States Army. You have just wasted our time and called us here on a false report. I suggest you go back to your own business." Karen said nothing. She just stared at Sarah, who was watching her with a calm, unbothered expression. The color drained from Karen's face as the reality of what she had done sank in. She had called the police on a military officer who was simply moving into her own home. With one final, withering look from the officer, Karen turned and slowly walked back to her house, her clipboard hanging limply at her side. Sarah turned to me and winked. "Guess we won't have any more trouble from the HOA, will we, honey?" I just smiled, wrapping my arms around her and feeling a peace I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Our new life was officially beginning, and it was going to be wonderful.